In the vibrant heart of Miami, Florida, where the sun-kissed beaches met the glittering skyline, Leila Ramirez lived a life that seemed picture-perfect from the outside. At 32, she was a top real estate agent at Ocean View Properties, closing multi-million-dollar deals on luxury condos overlooking Biscayne Bay. Her sharp instincts and relentless drive had earned her a reputation as one of the city's rising stars in the cutthroat world of high-end real estate. But behind the polished facade of open houses and champagne toasts, Leila carried the weight of a one-sided relationship that had slowly eroded her spirit. Leila had met Rico Vargas 4 years ago at a networking event in South Beach. He was charming, with a disarming smile and dreams of becoming a marine biologist. Fresh out of community college, Rico was struggling to afford tuition at the University of Miami. Leila, smitten and ever the giver, saw potential in him. She started covering his books, then his rent, and eventually his full tuition. It's an investment in our future, she'd tell herself, ignoring the red flags. Rico's family latched on quickly. His Aunt Maria, a retired waitress with a penchant for luxury, began hinting at small favors. Soon, Leila was footing the bill for upgrades to Maria's modest beach condo in Key Biscayne. New granite countertops, a remodeled kitchen, even a hot tub on the balcony. Rico's cousins dropped by for loans that were never repaid, and family gatherings turned into subtle shakedowns. Leila justified it all. She came from a humble background herself, raised by her single uncle, Carlos, who had sacrificed everything to put her through school after her parents passed in a car accident. Carlos was her rock, a quiet mechanic who taught her the value of hard work. Now, in his late 60s, he lived in a small apartment in Little Havana, content with his simple life. Leila sent him money monthly, but he always insisted she keep most of it. "Mija, you've got your own dreams," he'd say, with a warm smile. But dreams have a way of turning into nightmares. It started with a phone call on a humid Thursday afternoon. Leila was in the middle of showing a waterfront penthouse to a celebrity client when her phone buzzed insistently. It was the hospital. Uncle Carlos had collapsed at his garage, his kidneys finally giving out after years of untreated diabetes. He was on dialysis, fighting for his life in the ICU at Jackson Memorial Hospital. Leila's world tilted. She rushed to the hospital, her designer heels clicking frantically on the linoleum floors. The ICU was a sterile maze of beeping machines and hushed voices. Carlos lay pale and frail, tubes snaking from his arms, his breathing labored. The doctor, a kind-eyed woman named Dr. Elena Torres, pulled Leila aside. "She's an end-stage renal failure. Dialysis will keep him going, but he needs a transplant. The wait list is long. Could be years. Private options exist, but they're expensive." Leila nodded numbly, her mind racing. She had savings, but with Rico's endless demands, her emergency fund was dwindling. Still, she'd make it work. She texted Rico immediately. "Uncle Carlos in ICU. Kidney failure. Need you here. Please come." Hours ticked by as Leila sat vigil, holding Carlos's hand, whispering memories of their fishing trips to the Keys. Her phone remained silent. No call, no text from Rico. Desperate, she called him. "Babe, I'm at the hospital. It's bad. Where are you?" Rico's voice was distant, laced with annoyance. "Leila, I'm swamped with finals. Graduation's in 2 weeks. Can't this wait? Aunt Maria's throwing me a party in the Keys, rented a yacht. It's gonna be epic." Leila's heart sunk. "Rico, my uncle might die. I need support." A sigh. "Look, he's old. Hospitals handle this stuff. I need $11,000 by tomorrow for the deposit on the yacht and catering. Aunt Maria's covering the rest, but you know how it is, family honor and all." The audacity hit her like a wave crashing on South Beach. $11,000 for a party while her uncle fought for breath? Leila stared at the phone, tears blurring the screen. She thought of the boat they shared, a sleek 30-foot yacht docked in Miami Marina. It was in her name, bought with her commissions, but Rico treated it like his personal playground. Something inside her snapped. No more. With steady fingers, she opened her banking app. Instead of $11,000, she transferred $35 to Rico's account. Then she texted, "Here's $35 for a bus back to reality. Don't contact me again." She blocked his number, then called her lawyer, Sophia Mendoza, a no-nonsense attorney who'd handled her parents' estate. "Sophia, freeze everything. Join accounts, auto transfers to Rico and his family, and start the process to repossess the boat. It's mine." Sophia's voice was calm. "About time, Leela. I'll handle it. What about the $11,000 he wanted?" Leela glanced at Carlos, his chest rising faintly. "Donate it to a kidney transplant foundation in Carlos's name." The next 2 days blurred into a haze of hospital visits and whispered prayers. Leela barely slept, dozing in the uncomfortable waiting room chairs that smelled of antiseptic and stale coffee. Nurses brought her water, patting her shoulders sympathetically. Carlos stabilized on dialysis, but his prognosis was grim without a duminer. Her phone exploded with notifications from unknown numbers. Rico's family, Aunt Maria's voicemails were venomous. "You ungrateful bitch! After all we've done, transfer the money now or you'll regret it." Rico's cousins texted threats, demanding she stop being selfish. Leela ignored them all, focusing on Carlos. She read him stories from his favorite Cuban authors, her voice steady despite the storm inside. On the third day, as Leela sipped bitter coffee in the cafeteria, her phone buzzed with a long text from Rico. She opened it, expecting rage. Instead, it was a plea mixed with demands. "Babe, why $35? That's insulting. Aunt Maria's furious. The yacht deposit's due. Send the $11K now and I'll swing by the hospital later. Promise. This party is for us, for my degree you paid for." Leela laughed, a sharp, bitter sound that turned heads. Who did she think she was? An endless ATM? She forwarded the text to Sophia. "Add this to the file. Emotional manipulation." Sophia replied quickly, "Done. Accounts frozen. Boat repossession starts tomorrow. Donation process to the National Kidney Foundation. $11,000 in Carlos's name. They'll post about it soon." Leela felt a weight lift. For years, she'd been the provider, the fixer. Now, she was reclaiming her power. The backlash was swift. Rico's calls came from borrowed phones, escalating to screams. "You can't do this! That's our boat!" Aunt Maria showed up at Leela's office, making a scene until security escorted her out. Word spread through Miami's tight-knit Latino community, whispers of greed and betrayal. Then, the National Kidney Foundation's post went viral. On their social media, with over 1 million followers, they shared a heartfelt graphic, a photo of a diverse group of transplant recipients overlaid with text. A heartfelt thank you to Leela Ramirez for her generous $11,000 donation in honor of her uncle, Carlos Ramirez, battling kidney failure. This gift will fund life-saving transplants and support for families in need. Prayers for Carlos's recovery. #Kidney Heroes. The post exploded. Shares from celebrities, local news pickups, Miami socialites, many of whom Leela knew from real estate circles, commented, "Inspiring! What a queen!" But Rico's family? Humiliation. Aunt Maria's friends forwarded it to her. "Saw this. $11K to charity while your nephew's grad party flops? Ouch." Rico's graduation went and came without fanfare. No yacht in the Keys, just a backyard barbecue at Aunt Maria's now-dated condo, sans hot tub. Leela had stopped those payments too. Photos leaked online showing a deflated Rico amid cheap decorations. Comments piled on. "Thought he was balling? Where's the yacht?" The repossession hit hardest. 2 days after the donation post, repo men arrived at the marina. Rico was there, prepping for a consolation cruise with friends. He watched in horror as they towed the boat away. "That's mine," he yelled, but the paperwork was ironclad, in Leela's name. Debt collectors followed. Without Leela's subsidies, Aunt Maria's condo payments lapsed. Credit cards maxed out from past upgrades went unpaid. Rico's student loans, which Leela had been covering, defaulted. He dropped out of job hunts blaming stress. Public shame sealed it. The foundation's post linked back to Leela's story. Anonymous at first, but Miami's grapevine connected the dots. Rico's family became pariahs. Invites to parties dried up. Whispers followed them at grocery stores. That's the ones who bled her dry while her uncle suffered. Leela, meanwhile, threw herself into work and Carlos. She hired a private nurse, researched transplant options. The donations publicity brought unexpected help. A local philanthropist, moved by the story, fast-tracked Carlos on a private donor list. 6 months later, the transformation was complete. Carlos, post-transplant, recovered at Leela's new waterfront villa, an upgrade she bought with proceeds from selling the boat. He wheeled around the pool deck, joking in Spanish, "Mija, you finally kicked that leech to the curb." Leela, now single and thriving, closed her biggest deal yet, a $20 million estate in Coral Gables. Commissions poured in. Her name graced billboards. She vacationed in the Caribbean, St. Lucia, Barbados, sipping piña coladas on white sands, toasting her freedom. Rico? He flipped burgers at a fast food joint in Hialeah, grease-stained apron hiding his faded dreams. Aunt Maria pawned her luxuries,